There are times when I've come up with the story idea and it hasn't panned out. And it used to, just hurt me a lot, and I say, oh, I'm letting down my editors. Oh, God. I mean, how come I can't find the key to unlock the road to making this story idea make sense to me, or finding people to help me unravel this story idea? But sometimes it's just not there. And I learned that word, and to be patient. Let it go. Let it go, Will. There's something else that you'll find on that journey. And so it took me maybe 3 or 4 years not to be crushed if I didn't find the story I was originally going after. One time I went to South Carolina. James Brown, the entertainer, the soul singer, and the godfather of soul, had been arrested. He was in prison. And I was at the Boston Globe, and I went to South Carolina. I was going to do a story on James Brown's band members who were not working. And I thought that would be a pretty tender story, to go find these 8 or 9 people who were just living down in Aiken, South Carolina, and they were waiting on James Brown. That kind of was my thesis for the story. Waiting on James Brown, waiting on James Brown. And so his road manager asked me to meet him at this bar, at this little country bar. And we got to talking, and 9 o'clock at night turns into 10 o'clock, turns into 11 o'clock, and I'm getting all this great stuff. And he's happy that somebody cares to write about them, even if James Brown is locked away. So mind you now, I'm there to do a story on him and the other band members. The next morning, he tells me to be in front of my hotel at 9 o'clock in the morning. He wants me to go someplace with him. And I said, sure, great. And so I'm out there. He picks me up in a limousine. It's James Brown's limousine. And he says, Will, it's Sunday. I'm going to the prison to visit James Brown, and I'm taking you with me. So look at what happened. I went there to do him, and the next afternoon at 11 o'clock, I'm in the big yard of the prison on a park bench interviewing James Brown himself. You never know. Writing is shoe leather so often. You got to go. If you just go, if you just travel someplace, stories find us often. You don't do telephone journalism. You don't sit around expecting a story to chase you down. One time in the 9th grade here in Columbus at Monroe Junior High, I was on the basketball team. And there was this guy, Aaron Summerall, and he had a wooden leg. He was on the basketball team. When he was 12, he was running across some train tracks, and he tripped, and he couldn't escape. His leg got stuck, and the train sliced off half of his leg, and so the rest of his leg was wooden. And so in the 9th grade at Monroe Junior High, he was our starting forward. He was like, he moved awkwardly, but with such courage. And it was just beautiful to watch him play. And so one afternoon, I'm at the Boston Globe, writing on the magazine, and I said to myself, I wonder what happened to Aaron Summerall and the other players, because 3 of them got kicked off the team, and Aaron was one of them. They had stayed out late some night and done something, and they were kicked off the team, and our whole season fell apart. Now, and all these years later, I'm thinking, whatever happened to those guys? What did that moment of shame, do to them? And I told my magazine editor, and I said, I want to go home. I want to find out what happened to Aaron and Elijah, what happened to them in life. How did that one moment affect their life, if it did? And she said, that is a great story idea. And I came back here and spent 2 weeks in town looking up all of those guys. And they all had these fascinating memories about that year, about that season, and about Aaron, and about his wooden leg. And that story in the magazine led to me wanting to do the family memoir. I think if there is a lesson in this sort of magical moment of finding this butler, this man, whose life really tells the story of our country. It really does. I mean, his life, you know, if you follow his life, you can see how we got from segregation to Obama in the White House. I mean, you really can. I mean, he was on the same trail, you know. He was on the freedom trail. And yet, he never lost faith in the country. I mean, and that's a powerful thing. And I don't think I know I haven't ever lost faith in storytelling. I mean, you know, and I think that's what is great about learning and about telling stories. You never know what's around the corner. I mean, this story was around the corner, you know, and I just had the idea to go and look. I didn't know if I would find anybody. I certainly had no idea I would find a figure like him. I mean, I just didn't.